Greetings of peace and love, beloveds. Shout out to Ra Motep Al of 13 Signs Astrology, who is one of my inspirations. Hope you're well, and I really look forward to another video. If y'all haven't heard of Ra Motep Al, 13 Signs Astrology on YouTube, has a website too, but I'm not sure how much of that website is truly him. Check him out. Controversial to the hilt, and that's exactly how I like it when people go down and dig deep trying to uncover the truth and are masters of what they do. I look up to him. So today's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holiday, happy solstice. And I have a little bit time before my kiddos come from their daddies to come over. So I decided to do episode 2. Sounds weird to call it episode, so part 2. Part 2 of the Scrooge dialysis, the Scrooge Ascension. And I know it's all tipped a little weird this time, but I thought it would be kind of lovely to see my butterfly wings, which is something I like to pull out when I want to give myself some love. And that's part of what we'll be talking about today. So where we left off last time was talking about needing to prepare a map in order to go into the darkness with intent, with intention and purpose. And our intention would be to face some of our demons, if that's pretty much everybody, I would say, across the board. Or to gain perspective, or to go into the spaces of the dark to help out or to be helped, to show compassion or to receive compassion. So we're gonna, all right. I got this all prepared, but something happened with my number 2 card. So let's see. Okay, I got it. I'm good. So we're creating a map because the first part was laying out what the book, movie, the story that you might have been told, which is titled A Christmas Carol, was about, it's about Scrooge, who is an archetype for a person who is stuck in their habitual ways, which are not allowing them progression, and in fact might be devolving them or others around them. And I feel like a lot of us who do celebrate Christmas, or even if we don't, we do know the story of A Christmas Carol. And Scrooge had to go on kind of some magical flight with his rescuing angels, or ghosts as they were called, of the Christmas spirit, the past, the present, and the future, in order for them to intervene in his soul's destruction and of the souls around him, because of the lack of his compassion and the abundance of his ignorant arrogance and his apathy. Before he went into this ghost-like realm, what I remember was that his nephew had wanted some time off or whatnot, and he had not granted it. The nephew worked anyhow, and then cheerfully went home to his family, said goodbye, uncle, in a nice way, and Scrooge just bah humbugged him. And I think that's when the little ding 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 went off in his little psyche, because I'm trying to bring this story down to reality. So an event horizon or a crisis often occurs when somebody needs a wake-up call, because their higher self, we all have a higher knowing that often we do not listen to or follow, even if we are trying our best. And that higher knowing is constantly understanding that it needs to send you messages and signals to get you back on the right path towards the soul's growth, enlightenment, and evolvement. And sometimes for me, a lot of times. So if it's you too, don't be afraid. You know, don't be ashamed. It's one way to go. There needs to be a crisis or an event horizon or some destructive force to unstick the mule from the mire, or whatever, the cow or whatever. I don't remember. The sow from the mire. To unstick the person from their habitual ways, because I don't think that anybody would disagree with me if they said before, at the beginning of the film or the book, Ebenezer Scrooge did not seem like there was any way you could convince him of reflecting on the things that he was doing wrong. I don't think that he felt he was doing anything wrong. I felt like he felt he was right because he saw the fruits of his labor, which were worldly and success in the monetary sense, but at the expense of other people's feelings and at the expense of Scrooge's actual detachment from his own feelings. Well, he was thrust into the darkness, which would pan out to be a kind of almost like death, like outer body experience of witnessing your life from, you know, from the past to the future and the end. And it was an epiphany for him to see it from a different perspective. And he was granted these 3 ghosts, or angels, as I prefer to call them, to help support him in that journey. Now, sometimes, you know, sometimes we don't want a moment, that a crisis to occur. We'd like to handle our conscious awakening process, our ascension, our alchemical conjurings and our magic by ourselves without having to wait for, you know, because, you know, there's a lot of wonderful people out there who are doing their work. Good for you guys. So let's map out what you need to do to be able to go into your darkness, whatever that might look like. I'm going to have to do a list at the end of this. So what I have down here is as follows. Okay. Well, first thing that you need to do is recognize this word and identify with it. You need to set an intention. Intention is what you need to set. Very, very, very important and fundamental key to magic. And an intention is what you plan on doing. It is a map. It doesn't have to be all the details, but your intention could be, I intend to go and face my demons because I am tired of the consequences of my actions and I want this to change. There's an intention. Before I ever do some kind of psychedelic trip, which I consider sacred, so it's sacred medicine to me, I do it very rarely, I learned from a dear, dear old friend of mine who told me this, and at first I resisted it, but to set an intention before every single journey into that medicine. And that has tremendously helped the magic there because there's a focus. And this all seems so simple. It's like, how is it that just saying something about something can direct it to something? Well, that's what alchemy is all about. It's magical. And what you believe, and in fact, what you say, and may not necessarily believe in your conscious state, but subconsciously you believe, that's how we're manifesting shit that we don't want or do want all the time through our subconscious, because our beliefs come from this deep part of us. So we want to start with an intention and map out our goal. Some people might might ritualize intention with a prayer, and I think that is so wonderful. I used to, you know, from my experience and my aversion to my religion-based naively on my religious upbringing. I discredited prayer, but I didn't fully understand it. I had bad associations with, not necessarily, yes, with prayer, actually, yes. I had bad associations with prayer and anything that had to do with my deeply religious upbringing, so I discredited it, and now I realize that prayer really is just intention. And in fact, I thank my mother and my father now for before every meal and before every trip, and pretty much way too often, but now I realize not way too often, having a prayer. And I felt embarrassed. We do it in public. And now what I realize, and I do this myself, is before I start on any kind of trip in my car, I don't pray like religious style anymore, like dear Heavenly Father and amen. But I do talk to my vehicle. I talk to the energies around me, and I say blessings on this trip, that I might be safe, that we, and gratitude for my car, and I say things like that, and I believe in it. It helps the brain merge with your soul in a way, because you develop a relationship with something that has so been called, you know, inert, like a car, and yet it has energy, and you work with it, and I don't care what they say, everything around us is interacting with us, and if at the very bare base of it all, I'm interacting with my belief in myself, and I don't want to harm any animals. I've still yet to hit an animal on the road, and I've been in cars with people who have hit animals plenty. But this is part of it, I believe, is because I intentionally say, I do not want to cause any animals harm. I do not want to hit any animals, and I do not want them to cause themselves or me harm by being hit by me in this death vehicle that I'm in while I'm driving it. So prayer is wonderful. Start out with a prayer. Make your intention. Know why you want to go into your darkness. Say an opening statement that might look like please, but there are other words for please. In fact, I think a stronger word is, it is my will, or I ask humbly, and then ask for help or guidance during your journey. Ask for clear-cut messages, clear-cut knowing when it's time to exit your journey, and then offer gratitude, absolute deep gratitude for the energies and entities, or if you want to take it to a pragmatic approach, do that too. Just be like, I'm really grateful that I can go into this experience, and I believe in myself. I want myself to know that I'm gonna do this right. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it confidently. Do it how you want to do it. No matter what you do, no matter what you learn, do what feels right for you. Now, when we're going into this, we need a fearlessness. Now, this is key. You made your intention. You need to evaluate your level of trust at this point. I don't want to make this sound scary, like we're going into like a haunted house on Halloween that literally everything that's fake could come alive and become real. But in a way, it could, because darkness preys upon those who can receive darkness. Just like any other energy attracts the energy it wants to attract. And if you are not careful and you do not trust, and say you've had a problem with drinking or something in the past and you've decided to go in the bar to defeat your drinking demons, you could very well lose your trust, become fearful, and fall back into a pattern and then call me out on this and say your fucking thing didn't work. And I'd say, you know what? Like, this has no patent pending. But we want to be fearless. We want to trust. We need to do a ritual. We need to visualize what we're going to do so that we know we've mapped it out in our head. We need to practice ongoing self-love through the journey and in general, because that's the key, as you knew from last video. Which actually all boils down to your confidence. Your trust and your self-love really boils down to confidence, and that's a hard thing for a lot of people, and I relate to that. I understand that. And it really is, but it's key. And you know how they say, fake it till you make it? That shit works. Again, it's going to be sloppy because I wrote notes. So when you're visualizing, you, for some people, this is going to, for most everybody, this is going to be necessary, but for some people, it will be key. Visualization is what the things of manifestation are made of. It's true. Because you visualize something, it's really quite no different from the experience you're having here. If we believe that all is mind and the universe is mental. So visualizing things can actually cohesively produce them in your future. So you want to visualize the start to the finish, and visualize yourself going in to your dark space, doing what you need to do, and visualize yourself getting cleanly out. A lot of this, I would like to say, if anybody studies astral projection or things of that nature, these techniques are very crucial to real, serious astral projectors, because this is a state where you literally can be pretty mind blown. And the more that you trust, the more that the further you can go, and the further you can go, the farther out you can go. So you need to have not just a surface limited battery power of trust. You need to visualize yourself having a rocket pack of unending, titanium, lithium trust that lasts forever and ever, and visualize whatever you want, make it a little movie in your head. And just like an astral projection or whatever, you're going to go through a portal in, and you're going to go through a portal back out. And the same analogy that I used of walking into a dark room from a light room and walking about, 15 feet in and turning around, you can still see the light in the door, but you are surrounded by darkness. And so you want to keep that portal in mind. And in astral projection, they talk about a silver cord. A lot of people get really scared about this, but it's nothing to be scared about. A lot of people think if, when you astrally project, what that means is that you are, you've practiced and you're capable of going into the astral realm, which is sort of the realm above and below where we are. It can go both ways, but it's really the spiritual realm, one of them, maybe the first layer of spiritual realm. And in that layer, you can really see some of the super subconscious parts that are at work. And it's almost like you're in a dream trance, but you're a little bit more conscious, but, definitely in a dream trance, meditative trance. And some people have seen and talk about a silver cord, and that's what maybe connects you back to your physical body. And some people get scared about that cord being cut and them not being able to come back. But I don't believe in that, because if the universe is mental, and which it is, in my belief and opinion, and if all is mind, you constantly have the choice in this free will universe. And I think in the if you're astrally projecting from the free will universe of the physical realm into the astral realm, you're still abiding by the free will universe laws. It is only by your choice that you remove yourself from this realm and slip away. Schizophrenia is something that I think is very misleading because it has such a stigma around it, around it makes me really sad. I've had some personal encounters not but a few months ago with a really brilliant human being who had lost touch with reality and would go in and out of just savant brilliantness, like things that a person at that age, just without really being shown that from the astral world, would not know, and nor could you research that because it was stuff that I didn't know and I've been researching for a while. And lost by his own choice, his path. And it is a choice. Don't forget that. So exercise your willpower. Exercise your confidence and trust and total self-love and acceptance of the feelings that you feel. All right, I'm going to end this second video pretty soon, and we'll just continue on this path. All right, so it's all about mind control. You got to be really cautious. You got to be cautious about your level. So that's what really this second part is about making an assessment of where your trust and your confidence are on a 1 to 10 scale. And you set the value. What's 1 to you? What's a 10 to you? Do you think you're ready? And be realistic on both ends of the spectrum. Don't tell yourself you're not ready when you know you're being lazy, saying you're not ready because you don't have the confidence when you really do. I know that's a little vague, but you know what I mean. I know 1 or 2 or 4 million of you do. And then on the opposite spectrum, which would be more like somebody like me, there's all sorts of types of people. Don't be so arrogant and just like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do it, Truly sit down with yourself and evaluate whether you are ready to allow these shifts to come in your life. And the way that these shifts in the quantum leap into a very desirable level of consciousness occur is by being completely truthful. And if you're not, you will see. If you want to quantum leap, you will quantum leap. And if you're not ready, you will be overwhelmed by the consequences of. And there's always consequences when you want to quantum leap because you're, it's kind of like the way of the cross. You're signing up for a harder way because you are impatient. That is me. That is me to the core. And I know this, and I'm starting to really accept this about myself and slow down a little bit. But if you cheat the system, Scrooge was trying to cheat the system the whole time. And what happened to him? He had to quantum leap in a major way. And I'm sure he would have lost his mind had not he been held by such wonderful ghosts of the Christmas past, present, and future. Till next video, this is part 2 of Scrooge's Ascension. Much love, guys. Thanks for watching.